So we're going to ask ourselves, what is the quadratic formula? This question is an in-depth question that's dealing with not just what is the memorized value of the quadratic formula. We know that, or can look it up. But where does it come from? Why is there a formula for this equation? So let's first look at what it is. The quadratic formula gives the value of x for any quadratic equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And that's where we're going to start. We're going to take that, and starting with that equation, we are going to manipulate that to meet our needs. We're going to solve it as a literal equation. So a, b, and c will remain variables, and we'll solve it for x. So we're going to follow some steps to help break that down. So we're going to start by dividing everything by a. Here these would cross out, and we'd have x squared plus b over a x plus c over a is equal to 0, because 0 divided by a is just 0. So this would be what we'd end up with at the end of our first step. I'll move that down to here so we can move into our second step. From there, we're going to use that, and we're going to subtract the constant term, c over a. Since c and a are both numbers, that will be a constant. We're going to move that over here to the right side. Again, these cancel out. And we would end up with x squared plus b over a x is equal to negative c over a. So with that, we are going to go ahead and we are going to complete the square. So to complete the square, we're going to come in here and we're going to add b over a divided by 2 would become b over 2a. We're going to square that. So half of the middle term squared. If we add it to the left, we also have to add it to the right. So b over 2a squared. So now that would become x plus b over 2a squared, which would then be equal to, and we'll go ahead and square that on the left side, or right side, I'm sorry. That become b squared over 4a squared. And that's it. We've completed the square. So you can see that already we're getting pretty deeply in here. It does require all of the algebra you've learned so far. This is not what I would consider a simple problem, but it hasn't required us to do anything we haven't learned yet. We understand what a literal equation is. We've dealt with the fractions before in literal equations. We subtracted something from both sides of an equation, and then we completed the square. So up until now, these are all things we know how to do. They're just being applied in a context we haven't seen them before. Now we're going to combine the terms on the right side of the equation over a common denominator. To get a common denominator, we need a 4 and a second a. So we're going to multiply negative c over a by 4a over 4a. So that would become negative 4ac over 4a squared plus b squared over 4a squared. So here, our last step for this point is to add those together. Negative 4ac plus b squared over 4a squared. All right, so we've combined the terms. Now we could take the square root here and the square root here. So we're going to take the square root of both sides of the equation, and we'll get a plus or minus, which we're going to put in the numerator. And the denominator should fully simplify. So coming back in here, when you take the square root of something squared, they just cancel each other out. So we're just going to have x plus b over 2a is equal to. So now, we said we'd put the plus or minus in the numerator times the square root, negative 4ac plus b squared. The square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of a squared is a. So 4a squared in the square root will become 2a. So all of that is going to come down. Like that. All right, so at this point, it's starting to look similar to what we've seen before. So I'm going to rewrite that down here. So copying that down here, we need to subtract b over 2a from both sides. So take b over 2a away from here, and those will cancel out. And take b over 2a away here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this as x is equal to negative b over 2a plus positive or negative square root negative 4ac plus b squared over 2a. So I've subtracted it from both sides. We want to add these over a single fraction. They both have a denominator of 2a, and I'll put the negative up into the numerator here, so it'll be negative b. So x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of negative 4ac plus b squared over 2a. And what you'll see is the only difference in what we have and the traditionally memorized quadratic formula is the order of the determinant.